Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Eileen, and this is a daily dose of medicine walk. And for those of you who are listening in on Blog Talk Radio, this is Healing House Radio. So, I was going to tape outside, and I got halfway through, and all of a sudden somebody started using a leaf blower. And so it's like, okay, I think we'll be going inside for this one. But it is a nice, cool spring day, and while it's not as hot as it had been, it's still nice to be outside in the fresh air. And I strongly recommend, even if it's just sitting next to an open window, get some fresh air in. It will definitely help to take some nice, deep, fresh breaths and be able to find that balance point, whether you're empathic or not. So, today's question deals with something that was brought up with me a couple of years back. And it has to do with empaths being challenged by holding people accountable and by being able to give themselves permission to honor what they feel as opposed to what somebody else wants them to feel. And today's question is, do empaths tend to forgive even if they don't want to? Well, that question was posed to me. It was a couple of years ago, where a friend of mine who was just kind of discovering her empathy was in a relationship with a friend, and it was one of those situations where, that person has a tendency to be a bit hurtful, and little comments are made, and she always found herself saying, well, that's okay. And the person would apologize sort of in an offhanded way. And she would accept the apology, but then she would feel very angry with herself afterwards. And once she was away from that person and on her own, she would get very frustrated and she would get very angry at herself. And this really was when I wanted to start working with people who are empathic, so that they could learn how to establish boundaries, how to hold people accountable, and how to be able to honor what they feel. Now, yes, it can be very challenging because the instinct of empathy is to resonate. So once a situation comes in where that person is at odds with what's going on, with what somebody else is saying or what they're feeling, and the thing is, and especially with a narcissist, they are so justified or feel so justified in what they do and what they say, and that there really should not be a sense of accountability. They have a tendency to be very strong personalities, which means that an empath near them will go along, because the empathy can compel you to go, oh, okay, because remember, as empaths, we feel what other people feel as if it is our own feeling. So if they feel strongly that it's okay to be hurtful to us, we feel strongly as well. Now, that's in the case of someone who doesn't manage their empathy. So it's especially important to be able to know who you are, to honor who you are, and to honor what you feel. And this is really one of the fundamental pieces of being able to walk in this world as an empath and still be yourself. Remember, empathy is a part of you. It's not all of you. There are many other parts of you, and you need to honor all of those pieces. Now, if someone is, hurtful and they give like a little half-hearted, well, sorry, or they actually go on the assertive point and start saying things like, well, you need to just get over it, and you need to just stop worrying about it, or, in some way diminish what it is that they did and what you're feeling. And don't let them do it. Because like I said, people who tend to be narcissistic are very persuasive in that, and can actually make someone feel bad for the fact that they've been hurt. And it's really easy for empaths to fall into this. So the first step is define what you mean by forgiveness. And, for me, I define forgiveness as the point when I will no longer give a person or event the power to inspire in me a feeling I don't want to feel. Whether it's anger, whether it's, shame, whether it's embarrassment, I don't want to feel any of those things. And if thinking about what that person said or what they did creates one of those feelings in me, then we're not at forgiveness. And I will not push myself towards forgiveness until that is resolved within me. So make sure you have a clear definition of what you mean by forgiveness. Next, it doesn't matter what that person says or projects. You know in your gut that you've been hurt and that it's not okay yet. At some point, it might be okay. Or maybe it won't. That depends on you. But if at some point it's going to be okay, but that point is not now, that's okay for you not to be okay now. It's okay for you not to accept an apology now because you're not ready. You're still processing the event that happened. And everything that happens, we end up growing from. So allow yourself to grow through this process of having been hurt and looking at what it is you can do to find balance with it. But do not rush through that process until you have decided that you've reached that balance point. Now, it can be difficult, especially when people are accustomed to someone who just kind of lets things go. It can be difficult to change the concepts of others, but just hold on, stand by your guns and say, no, this is not okay. It was not okay. And I'm going to have to think about this for a while. Because often people, especially narcissists, will want to have you rush through that process just because they don't like that idea that someone may hold them accountable. Okay, that's a them problem. That's not a you problem. Your responsibility is honoring yourself. Your responsibility is reaching the point where you feel the same way when you're with that person as you do when you're away from them. Because it's when you move away from them and your own thoughts start to come to the surface and your own feelings come to the surface that you reach that place of, whoa, that was not okay. I'm really upset with myself because I didn't stand up for myself. And it's important to stand up for yourself. It's important to understand that you have a right to your feelings, your unique feelings. Being empathic does not mean that we don't have a right to what we feel. So focus on that. Yes, it's always possible that, you may have misunderstood, or maybe there was information you didn't have, or whatever reason that it's like, oh, well, okay, I can accept that person's apology. If they're like, well, I know this is not a person who normally would want to hurt me, so maybe I was being a little more sensitive that day. We always have to look at all sides of this. Empathy only lets us look at one side, that other person's. When we use all of our tools and all of the information we have, you can include empathy, but don't make it the only source of evidence that you have. Look at the whole picture. And when you look at the whole picture, you can decide, you know what? I think I need a little bit more time with this. I think that I need to look at this a little bit more closely. I need to look at this relationship a little bit more closely. It's okay to honor yourself. It's okay to give yourself time to process what has happened. And it is okay if you are not ready to go into that place of forgiveness. Once you've decided what forgiveness means to you, if you're not ready to go there, you don't have to just because somebody else wants you to. Honor yourself. You have a right to your feelings. And the more you do that, you will find the more people around you will change. And actually, they will start honoring you a little bit more if they realize that you will hold them accountable. It's not an anger thing. It's not a revenge thing. It is a balance thing. Find your balance point. So, thank you for joining me. And if you like this video, please press like. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, then please contact me. You can reach me through my Facebook group, Medicine Walk with Dr. Eileen. You can follow me on Twitter. And you can also reach me through my email address that's in the description. So if you are subscribed, thank you. And if you are not, please consider subscribing to the channel. Oh, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you'll be sent a message every time I upload, which is every day. So again, thank you. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. Love you, and see you tomorrow. Bye.